We've had to have those hard conversations, and it's been difficult. He said in the 30 years that he had been doing this, he had never seen a business have a culture so strong within a 3-year period.
What is it you make maybe differently? What is unique about you, how you created that culture?
Life happens, like, things go wrong, and we understand that.
I'm happy to still go run through a roof and do all the stuff that most people in business would just like say, oh, you're the apprentice, you can go do it, like.
She's not good enough, she's not fast enough, she's not attention to detail, and she's young. Thank you very much, Claire and David, for coming to my podcast, Business Breakthroughs. It's very nice having you here and taking your time to being in here with me. Would you mind just start with sharing about what is it you do, who you are, where are you based, so we can get to know you a little bit?
Yeah, so we're based in Western Australia in a small town called Cape Burney, and we've been in business for 3 years now. We run an electrical refrigeration and air conditioning company. We have a team of 10, and we basically have, I guess, worked really from the bottom up to where we are now and built a very strong foundation in relation to our culture and the people that we bring into the business. I'm sure David could share a little bit about like sort of our philosophy and our values and why we do what we do in relation to our mission.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, no, with I've just had a very good basically going through my apprenticeships and building up to the point of obviously running my own business. I've had very good mentors throughout. It's almost like I've been like, put with these people that had just these specific sort of skills in the same time, and at the time not just little weaknesses might have tripped them up, which I've sort of learned from and like taken bits and pieces from that and applied it sort of to what we've done. So from starting off, like I had a really good guy that just focused more on skills in terms of just in the trade itself. But when it came to the business, obviously business being a completely different skill set, he sort of just didn't quite focus on developing the business to the point when I finished my apprenticeship, I was able to then, he wanted to take me on as a tradesman and continue on with that. But from there, obviously, he had to basically he had to let me go because he just hadn't built the business to the point where he can keep me on. And then from there, like literally moved. That allowed us to move on towards different opportunities up in Exmouth, a small town up north, where we ended up moving the entire family up there for 3.5 years. I was able to develop another trade. I got my dual trade, which is the refrigeration side. From there, and from that sort of mentor there, that he just was very business savvy in the way he went about everything he did. Like we were in a small remote town, so you had to be very versatile and very sort of savvy in a sort of sense to keep work ticking over. I mean, he sort of built a company from just himself in Exmouth. He bought the company out. He had a couple of branches, one up in Exmouth, another remote town from there, had about 18 staff. And then obviously I wasn't in that point, but obviously from there it sort of went down to a smaller crew. But I mean, he was able to invest all the time throughout weekend work and stuff back into me. He sort of allowed me to go through all the quoting systems, and like he was willing to put the time in as long as I was willing to sort of reciprocate back. And then from there, I've also taken that now to our business, where like for me, it's just sort of building the business, but at the same time, just reinvesting back into our apprentices as well, and just giving them a great opportunity to become good tradespeople, as well as like developing the culture and just not only just within the business itself, but just trying to take some sort of life lessons as well.
Yeah, I think what we do very well is our own personal development journey that's taken us to where we are today. We put that back into our team. So when we look at our team overall, we're not just looking at them as a number. They're actually an individual that also, has the opportunity to be the best version of themselves every day. And so we obviously have those sort of values in our business. And so we try to get those guys to also, live by those values in their home life as well, because that in turn makes them a better person, not just for their family, but also when they're out there in the field for us and they're representing electrical. It's really important for them to understand they hold a key to the journey of what we're trying to create, and bringing the right people in is the key. And I think that we've a lot over the last 6 months in relation to staff and how those A players can be really good and the B players can really damage what you have. But at the same time, you need both A and B to have a successful foundation, because you can't have good without bad, and the balance is really important. And that's what I think has been a really good lesson for us over this past 6 months.
Okay, so you do have that business for 3 years, right? And why have you decided to start it in the first place? If somebody is just like, I want to start the business, but I'm not sure. So why did you go into it and didn't continue with what did you do before?
Well, so it's a bit interesting. Obviously the business came around during COVID. And so I'm going to go there. We decided not to take the vaccine. We basically felt like there was this sort of push and drive in certain areas to mandate situations. And at that time, David was working for a company, and that company basically turned around to him and said, "You're going to have to get this if you want to keep your job." And we had already made plans to start a business in 2025, but we were at this point in time in January 22. And so we just basically had sold a previous property. And then we said to each other, why would we, change all of our values and go against what we believe in just because we were told to?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so we basically said, let's business and let's just start. Let's just go for it, not even look back. So we basically put everything we had into this business, started off with a $8,000 small vehicle, working from home. The garage was the stock room. No cars were being parked in the garage anymore. It was literally just an office, and everything was operating from there. We had all these random people knocking my door. I started to get a little bit concerned about the children, these people knocking the door. But at the same time, it was a great opportunity to teach the children about how you don't stop, you don't give up, no matter what people say to you, what the government say, what someone comes and tells you need to do. You do what's internally right for you and what's internally right for your values. And that was really important to us, because I know that David can probably speak on this shortly, but he went through a time where he was like, I'm going to have to get this vaccine because I need to pay for my family. I need to look after them. And he was forgetting about who he was. And I sort of reminded him and said, but that's not who you are, and that's not who we are as a family. So why would we do that? I mean, we don't, if we don't have the house, if we don't have this, it doesn't matter. What matters is we stay true to who we are, because the rest just comes as part of that, I guess, energy and the frequency that you bring to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I had a very similar experience with that.
And
I just want to point out on what you shared. It's not
and we've met so many people now that have.
Yeah, I think the connection is a little bit lacking. It's just during the COVID, obviously, we were pushing with the vaccine. I did the business already during the COVID, so I've not been forced in the job like David was. But we also are a family where we didn't take any vaccine. We actually don't take even any vaccine for children since they were born. We don't believe in that. Yeah, but it was funny. I didn't even wear the masks into the shops, and people would just be looking at me weirdly and it's like, "What are you doing?" and things like that. I'm like, "What? I just living. I don't know what you are doing." But it was that tension from the other people.
Yeah.
It's like you were feeling uncomfortable by walking through them. It's like, yeah, you are all like a sheep. You are just drawn by fear, and it is difficult on a person to keep going against when it's difficult. So, and I cannot imagine how it is, especially when you have work where you make money, and obviously you are forced to do that. So it was a very brave from you that you hold on to it and you went for your dreams. And now, so where you are now, obviously it's 3 years since you have that business, you make that decision, you started with 8,000 vehicle. So where you are now with terms of number, I know you have 10 people, which is quite a lot. So in terms of like a business wise, where you are?
So basically we have, when we look at our numbers, like we've pretty much our business has basically turned over 3 million. So it's been an incredible journey. And it's been a long road of hard work, and we've had to sacrifice not going to family things. We've had to miss out on certain things with family and holidays, and we've had to have those hard conversations, and it's been difficult because we were seen as the people doing the wrong things and friends. But now you can see the shift in, oh wow, look what you guys have created and how proud we are of what you've done, and also sticking to your values. So that in itself has been really nice to watch grow, and for people to ask those big questions. The business itself, the way that we are now moving is we're starting to want to scale, and scale by means of we would like to, and we are looking for businesses that are not doing so well, not operating maybe so well, that we could go in and use our model that we've created and basically turn it into A&L Electrical. Because what we've done recently is our culture survey, and our culture survey, for 3 years being in business, we received feedback of 8 out of 10, and we were told by the person that conducted the culture survey, that we brought in to conduct the culture survey, that he was now going to take this to million-dollar businesses, big multi-million-dollar businesses, and use it as reference for them to change their culture, because they hadn't had cultures for 5 to 10 years. And he said in the 30 years that he had been doing this, he had never seen a business have a culture so strong within a 3-year period. And basically said to us, whatever you've created, whatever you've put in place here, this can be modeled throughout other businesses that you would take over. So that for us is a very strong part of our foundation.
It's so funny you are speaking about this culture, because just yesterday I was listening JT Fox on his wealth workout, and he was speaking about the culture, turning employees into entrepreneurs, not entrepreneurs. So how do you go about it? Obviously, because I do have a company and I do have a people. So what is it you make maybe differently? What is unique about you, how you created that culture when the people are happy with you, and you have a good, obviously, work environment, and everybody is driven by the values. So would you want to share something?
I think it comes down to being able to have those people skills, but also being approachable, and also being real, just being real, and actually having those real conversations, and also knowing that life happens, things go wrong, and we understand that. And also having boundaries, and making sure that everyone understands what those boundaries are, but also knowing that there is a certain avenue that you can go down if you need to achieve something, or be able to, find balance within that work environment. One thing I've noticed, particularly with our staff, is how they always talk about we have a family-friendly environment. So if we have our children, obviously, that would come in and out of the workshop sometimes, and we have a 1-year-old who's pretty much grown up there. She was coming in there from the moment she was born. So that itself, I think, allowed everyone to see that we were real people, and we never sort of hid behind any kind of authority, or any kind of just like, you do as I say, like that I think doesn't work. I think you really have to be real. What would be, what's your take on that after what you've experienced? I think Dave would be able to share from his perspective as well with the technicians.
Well, I guess, like I said, it all branched back from my mentorship, because obviously a lot of our industry, our industry sort of stems back, like, where like an apprentice, especially when you get them from, say, straight out of school, it's cheap labor. So we've had a few that just come through, and they could 3 years into their apprenticeship, and their skill levels is yeah,
Paul.
they're basic. Like the company's not, they're not invested any of the time into their people. But like, to me at the same time, it's, I mean, a lot of also my influences come from like another business operator called, yeah, Andy Frisell, and he talks a lot about culture, and obviously as well as just, you know, reinvesting in people, you know, personal excellence. So to me, but it's leading by example. So it's like, I'm not, you know, I'm happy to still go run through a roof and do all the stuff that most people in business would just like say, oh, you're the apprentice, you can go do it, you know, like. So I mean, and the biggest thing as well, like I always like to, another example I got from him was like, when it comes to the team, you know, like if we're going to be moving this business forward together as a team, we have to, it's like anything, like a professional sport, together as a team. You know, in the end, business is competition and business is war, like JT says. You know, so to win it, to win the battles, you know, you've got to really like bring the team together. And at the same time, like, which is I like the boat analogy they talk about, where it's about sort of, you know, everyone's got an oar and everyone's got to row it in one direction. But at the same time, not only have we got to row it in one direction, we've got to be rowing at the same speeds. Because if one side's rowing one speed, one side's rowing the other speed, you know, you're going around in circles. But then you've also got anchors in the boat. So like, you know, anchors are completely holding you back, which business is hard enough. So people that completely don't align with your values or your business values and your culture, regardless of how good they are, they might be technical level or skill level, you know, like, but the thing is, like, if it doesn't fit the culture or the values, well, then they're still going to be an anchor, and they're still going to hold you back regardless of the skill level. So it's more looking for people that are just, you know, just hungry, willing to learn, have a sort of a learning growth mindset as well. Always willing to take the feedback, and just willing to sort of grow with you, because you can teach the skill, you can teach the craft and everything else. But like, I think it's sort of like that sort of just having that sort of growth mindset, you know, like people sort of either have that or they don't have that.
Absolutely.
You can't teach culture. You can't teach the culture part. You can't teach the personality, but you can teach the technical skills. And so we always look for that when we're bringing people into the business.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have actually a situation now in one of our businesses where the lady, woman, I don't know, she doesn't have the right attitude, and it's bringing the team down. And basically, I know it's gonna be time and point once I'm just looking for a replacement already. Gonna just replace her right away. It's not a very high paying job, but still, like, she's good at what she does, but the attitude is very bad, and how she speaks to others. And I'm like, we cannot have that, because it's just putting everybody down. And after the other people are telling me, like, you know, she's rude or things like that. So it's just yeah, like you said, you know, first to find the people with the right values, and we can train them for the rest, right? If we can.
Yeah. And then everyone's looking for that leadership from yourself as well. You know, like, are you going to allow this to occur within the company? You got to sort of take that action. And that's definitely one big thing, you know, like when it comes to that point, we've had sort of those issues. So I mean in Australia, you know, like, there's certain obviously rules to follow when it comes to employment. You know, you can't just go and fire someone. So you've obviously got to try and develop them in some way, or give them feedback or performance, and just try and like, and even on probation, like the rules are quite strict. So like, you try to work with them as sort of best as you can. But yeah, like, obviously, like, that's been a massive growth aspect for us at the moment, because it's especially, we're still like fresh, you know, like when it comes to like the skill side of the electrical side or refrigeration, you know, like, that's one side. But the business side, the people management skill, like just all of the other stuff, like the one cool thing, like, I just remember hearing from Tim Grover, is like, the more experience you develop, you know, it's you know, like, as you grow as a leader, and you've developed further down the track in business, it's like, you know, you don't become heartless, you use your heart less. So it's like becoming a lot more, rather than just like keeping someone on because you just feel bad,
the
you know,
emotional
like
side.
Yeah, it's like this, it's like, because you feel for it, you know, like, we're all people, aren't we? And, you know, like, having to
I
fire
had it
someone,
yesterday.
you know, it's like, that's
Yeah, I'll read you something. I had it yesterday. I had somebody for a trial, okay? And the other person she was on the trial with, she said she's not good enough, she's not fast enough, she's not attention to detail, and she's young, it's not gonna work. And so I sent her a voice. I've never met her, it was just a trial shift. And she said like it's a no for that. And she's like, can you please give me one more chance, please? And after I said no, and after she's like, please give me a chance if you can, it's gonna really help me. And it's like, kind of begging and trying to go emotional. And it's, I know some people, they want a job and they mean it well, but in the same time, it's like, if you can do it, very simple tasks. I mean, like, I cannot really teach you this super basic things. So,
Yes.
yeah, but yeah, it is difficult sometimes, the emotions, yeah.
And that's what's really hard in the role that we play, right? So you've got to learn to really detach your emotion and come from up here rather than down here. And it's a very hard, I guess, way to be and become when you are a real people person.
Yeah, sort of learning
it's learning those skills.
It's like walking that line of like, because you do like kind of feel like you're building these relationships almost as like a friendship in a sense, but at the same time, like like you can put your friendship hat on, but at the same time you got to put the boss hat on too. Like it's you just got to walk that line like between the two.
That's the tough part sometimes.
Yeah.
They can see you too much as
you're
a
also
friend,
going
and
to
after they
realign.
don't take you as authority at some point if it's becoming too long, and after kind of you lose that authority, and they will after kind of think like they can do anything they want, and it's kind of it's the line,
and then
it's a very fine line. And I'd like to go back to the point what you just raised about if you've got that person in your business who's just not really doing what they should be, and they're not good for the team, if you think about that, that is cancer in your business, and that spreads quickly. And your team, in our experience, are looking at you to see how you're going to handle that, what you're going to do about that person, because I know what you do, I've seen what you do, but how are you going to handle this? And so they're always looking to see, are you going to correct this, or are you going to let it keep going?
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I was just curious because obviously we know each other through JT Fox, and you are going for the event tomorrow.
Yeah.
How did you come up to JT, and what is it you like about him actually to be involved?
So the very interesting thing is here. So David actually is a traveler, so he does ultra marathons, and we came to David Goggins in Perth last year. And JT Fox presented at David Goggins. That's when we signed up, basically, to go to his event. And we went to Sydney. And we went to Sydney last year, and we basically became insiders because we could see the value in having that, I guess, leadership, but also a mentor of ours many years ago taught us, stand on the shoulder of giants. Don't try and do it yourself. And so you're learning from people who've already done what you've done. They've walked in the path that you would like to walk in. So for me and David, we could see the benefit in being in a group like that to be able to gain the knowledge and the skills. As David just said, we're very fresh. We're only 3 years in. So it would be nice to be able to be surrounded and already in the group, I've learned so much. And just having those tools and those strategies, but
it's building the network as well.
The network,
it's just I mean, because we already met through that as well. We obviously bumped into another electrician in Perth based there, and you sort of able then to collaborate as well. Because there's tenders up in Geraldton where he's sort of seen as well. Then we can sort of collaborate together, where we can sort of come through him, do the work. It's expanding that network and also just putting yourself just out there. And because for me as well, I'm quite an introvert person, so like it's just this whole sort of growth journey has been like constantly just trying to keep putting yourself out there and in comfortable situations. And like it's the only thing you're gonna, well, especially to help the business grow as well, you got to really just step out of those, like become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Yeah, 100%. You know,
Yeah.
it's the biggest thing with me has always been like the public speaking or just really putting myself out there. But the business has allowed me to sort of like grow so much as a person as well. Especially just with like growing a small team and then just communicating, to the team. And it might seem small now, but it's just like those little steps just to build you into a better leader further down the track.
Yeah. And I, as you can see, I'm the extrovert, so I love speaking.
Don't say.
That's what makes a good team. That's what makes a good team, though. We have that balance.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. No, you are right. I mean, being surrounded in a great network of people who are all, business people on the same page, they want to accomplish things. It's really powerful. I can see that already. I mean, we joined Insiders just recently in March, so we are very new in the group. But I can see I've been on 2 events so far in London, and it's really good to be, surrounding and listening in other people's businesses and stories, because you always take something from that which can help you. So yeah, it's
Yes.
definitely
Yes.
good.
And I think JT, the value that he adds and what he wants to do to help people. I've not seen that in any other investment really. So it's that aspect as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. So what are your next steps? Like, you have 10 people, company for 3 years, making 3 millions. What is it you are thinking to be in the next 2, 3 years? Do you have already plans? Where do you think you can take that company? Or are you thinking about something different as well?
I think the scaling is really important to us at the moment. So being able to look and see other businesses around the areas. So maybe, potentially like other regional areas, because we live quite regional from actually the city. So regional areas struggle to find the right, I guess, suppliers and people to do the service. So I'm looking at those niche markets. One thing we have done to diversify our business is that we do certain maintenance, and we have certain contracts where we're not just looking after the electrical side and the HVAC side, but we're also looking after like the plumbing and the maintenance and the locksmith, because I've been able to collab with these other trades, bring them in, and then we've been able to expand these contracts in doing that. So that is another goal as well, is looking at, what else can we do to diversify that business. So my background is in occupational health and safety. So I did that for 13 years. And basically, having those contacts and being able to provide that extra service, I see that being built into the business somewhere, because I pretty much had my own business, and I sort of amalgamated a little bit of that business into A&M Electrical, because I wanted to keep doing that safety aspect, because that is kind of always been my passion, is managing risk. And so it would be nice to be able to see that become a part of A&M Electrical too, and another service that we could offer to clients, because we also, we might do work for companies that are just starting up or opening up. So it would be nice to be able to say to them, well, have you sorted out your safety? Because we could do that for you. It's just that adding value. It's that next level. Customer service is very, very important in our business, and it's a very big driver in the feedback that we receive. Just today, I have some feedback that we received, basically said, the service is flawless, 5 stars. And so it's nice to be able to see that that's always what we're getting come through the door. And it's those little things like adding value. If the technician goes out and looks at a person's fridge or something within the home, we always say to them, pull the fridge out, clean underneath it, because you don't know when that person's going to be able to get under there again. It's just going that extra mile. If you're doing that anyway and you're in that space, just spend that extra couple of seconds and do that extra thing. So I would like to see the business take another step in relation to what can we provide to the customer, what else can we provide in way of looking after their homes, but also looking after commercial businesses and the industry. And then also education. So how can we educate in the industry?
But I'd say right now, though, say if we're looking at the moment thing, it's like trying to obviously, the plan is now obviously to pull ourselves more away from in the business, because we're basically, with the work I'm doing, the work Claire's doing, it's still working in the business and not on the business. Like getting away from it and really focusing on other stuff. We're still just working on a lot more of the really inside business that we do need to delegate to others, and then start developing little leadership teams to really sort of expand on that.
Yes. Yes. And that's why I guess, are coming to lots of these events, because we know that this is where you can get those golden nuggets to be able to provide you with that guidance, because as we're new, so we're still learning that, and to get those pieces of advice is really crucial to our next steps.
Yeah, and what I also like about these events is sometimes I have some clients I coach, and I tell them, come to this event or this event. There is a 1 day, 2 days, and sometimes they're telling me, no, I can't because I'm too busy with my business. I need to be there. And I'm like, if you're not gonna go, you'll be always too busy because you're not gonna learn the new things. And it's really good because it's forcing people to go somewhere for 2-3 days and being present, and their business needs to survive for these 2-3 days. Ideally, you don't look at your phone or things like that. Actually, in 2 weeks, I'm running a mastermind in Scotland, and it's for 3 days. And what basically I do, it's in a rural area. There is like woodlands around us. We go for different activities, and basically I take people's phones so they don't have them, and they don't know that. So they'll arrive for the first day. I'll take their phones, and they cannot use them for 3 days, and they are freaking out. And I'm like, I mean, if you can survive for 3 days, you should close that business. And it's really funny to watch people how they are like. They can check the phone in the evening to reply to their families, or if they are expecting some urgency. But it's really funny to watch it done. Yeah. Good. So
it is interesting though, isn't it? Like yeah.
Sorry, it's just lagging again. I only think what I didn't get. I mean, maybe you do both. Are you focusing with the refrigerators for commercial? I heard that the residential as well, but both, or just residential?
We do a bit of everything. So we basically do residential, so domestic, but then we also have commercial.
A lot of business sort of work, like all your restaurant, like can be your restaurants,
telecommunications. It's there's so many different I guess aspects of what someone might be looking for. I would definitely say the HVAC side of our business is very strong, and is always more in need.
Perfect. Great. So seems like that was a very good episode. It was a lot about culture. That's definitely. And if somebody is maybe thinking or maybe struggling a little bit with their business at the moment, or they are maybe not feeling good, maybe you've experienced something as well. I definitely did many times. Would there be anything like, both of you can share one thing which, can help those people?
I would say what's really, really important is being able to take time to self-reflect and think about why is that happening. Try to get a bird's eye view over the situation, and try and take the emotions out of it, and look at it from a realistic point of view, and think about why is this happening, and think about the solution rather than focusing at the problem, because the solution is what's going to drive you to ask yourself, how can I?
Perfect. Yeah, and like reframing it though, isn't it? So rather than saying like, why is this happening to me, like more saying this, like how is this sort of serving me? Who do I have to, what do I have to do? Who do I have to become? What skills do I need to learn and develop to sort of push through this sort of issue and sort of lean into the discomfort? Like it's
don't be afraid of the challenge. Don't let the fear take over. Ask yourself, how is it enabling me? what am I learning right now? Because that is such a powerful tool if you can learn how to do that.
Perfect. Very good advice. Thank you very much, both of you. And thank you very much for coming for this episode of podcast. I'm sure we're going to do it again in the future if you would like. And we'll have a little bit better also connection. And we'll see where you're going to be maybe in the next 6 months, maybe next year.
Yeah, sounds great, Vincent. Thank you very much. It was a great opportunity, and we look forward to spending some more time with you in the future.